Good morning. I'm going to call to order this meeting of the Monroe County Board of Commissioners. It is February 10th, 2021, and we'll begin with the statements, the public statement read by Commissioner Jones.
We, the Monroe County Board of Commissioners, renew our commitment to welcome and protect the rights of all people, regardless of age, race, color, creed, disability, sexual orientation, gender identity, marital status, economic status, and national origin. And we affirm the right of every person to live peacefully and without fear, and we will fight and resist at every step discrimination and harmful policies, whatever their source. We also stand in support of our county public school systems, both RBB and MCCSC.
All right, thank you so much. We will move on now to department updates. Our first department update will come from Penny Cottle. Good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having me again today. Just a few things to share. Our vaccine clinic is open today. We do encourage everybody to try to keep their appointment if they had one, but to use caution in doing so. We know that some of the side roads and things are slick, and we may be getting some more snow. So just use caution, come safely if you can, and keep your appointment. Again, we monitor and draw up vaccine as we go through the day so that we're not having lots of extra at the end of the day. I will say we have vaccinated over 2,400 people, and this week on Monday, we started our second dose vaccine, so we're excited to move through that. In Indiana, the state gave us some numbers the other day on Monday, but ranging from 50 to 63% of each of the age ranges. So as we look at those people who are 70 and over, 85 and over, and so forth, their vaccination rate is between 50 and 63%. So we're pleased with that. Currently, 46% of the people in Indiana between 65 and 69 have been vaccinated. But we have a huge number of people who are scheduled. And so we are excited about that. I do not anticipate that we will drop down to 60 to 65 quite yet. I think that we will wait, the state will wait until we have a little bit higher percentage and have moved through some of those appointments so that we don't have a huge backlog. So we're excited that people are looking forward to vaccinations, and again, ask for patience and as we wait for more vaccine to roll out. Testing sites, both the community site on Morton Street and the Armory site, the Optum site at the Armory, were closed yesterday due to weather. Appointments have been rescheduled. I did just receive word from the Armory site. You know, they are normally scheduled, I think, until 8 p.m. So they may be closing a little bit early today. They had a very light schedule, and they will contact anybody that they might need to reschedule. So just kind of to give people a heads up on that. Our numbers are trending in the right direction. They are starting to go down, although our cases per 100,000 are still in that 150 range, and that's still moderately high. So it's not where we want it, but we are glad that it's moving in the right direction. So again, same thing, we need to continue to practice our prevention efforts, vaccinated or not, continue the mask wearing, the hand washing, the distancing, all of those things until we get to a better place. The other thing that I would say I kind of skipped over, just as a general word of awareness, that typically the Morton Street site, and there I go again, the Morton Street site, and I do not have it timed. The Morton Street site and the vaccination clinic, for the most part, will follow any county closures. So if county buildings are closed, we anticipate that those two facilities will also close. So I would say check our Facebook page if you're concerned, or call. But if you have an appointment on those days, we will certainly reach out to anybody to make those changes. The system, in terms of vaccine clinic, we can get messages out to people, and we had a plan for that in case we needed to change today. So we do have a plan in place, but just wanted to kind of give that awareness to people as something to be looking for. Hopefully this is the week of winter weather and we will be through it, right? Last weekend, there did seem to be some confusion. I'm not quite sure why, but some of the retail food establishments and bars seem to be confused about local regulations changing. Nothing has changed for our restaurants and bars. They still need to close by 1 a.m. Masks must be worn when you are not seated or when the server is at your table. 6-foot distancing is required, and no standing around or dancing is to be occurring. So just want to remind people of that. I'm not quite sure where the confusion came. The other thing that I would say that is oftentimes confusing for people is that gathering size, that 50 limit or the 15 limit, whatever it is in terms of gathering size, has nothing to do with the capacity size of a business or retail food establishment, unless they are hosting an event, in which case social gatherings and events do meet that limit. So they have a different standard in terms of how many people can be seated in that restaurant, for example, or in that business. So just wanted to try to clarify that just a little bit. And I think that those are my updates for today.
Great, thank you so much, Ms. Cottle. We appreciate all the hard work you and your department are doing every day to keep us all safe. Comments, questions, Commissioner Jones?
It's great to hear that the vaccination rate is going so well.
Commissioner Githens?
Yes, yesterday I was on a meeting with Dr. Beth Rupp, who's the director of the IU Health Center, and we were talking about how you encourage people to get the vaccination. And she said, you know, COVID is not only terrible right now, we do not know the long-term effects of having this disease. And it's just very, very prevented to get the vaccine.
Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah. And we appreciate everything that's being done to communicate with folks who are scheduled to get vaccinated, and we're glad that this is moving forward. There is a sort of a map dashboard on the state's website regarding vaccinations. Is that relate to residents who have been vaccinated?
Yes, my understanding is that is the number of residents. It's not how many we've given in the county. It is by residents. We should be getting a breakdown, and I think it will probably just be in the dashboard, but we may get some additional information. So there'll be some demographic information that will come related to that, but also by zip code. So we'll be able, once we get vaccine and we can really start doing those outreach clinics, we can really look at where our disparities are and our inequities and try to get vaccine to those other individuals, whether it is by where they live or some other reason.
Yeah, very good. Excellent. You knew exactly where I was going. Thank you. All right. We appreciate you. Thank you so much. And we will now turn to Ms. Allison Moore, Emergency Management.
Good morning, commissioners. Thanks for allowing me to talk today. I have several different things to bring up. I'm going to start with our blood drives. We have blood drives scheduled out in the county now through the month of June, and all of those dates are on our county website. We've selected a day drive and an evening drive every month. And February is, as I announced last week, already full, but there are still spots available for March. And then if you'd like to go in and search for those dates, you can go to our website, see those dates all the way out through June, find a day that would work for you, and can go ahead and get on the schedule since they are, in fact, filling up quickly. The March dates that we still have available, which would be the next months that we have available, are the 17th and the 18th. And so you can search those days, or you can just go to our website, find the days we have scheduled through June. And then if any of those days work for you, you can go to the Red Cross website, put in the zip code, and then select the calendar, because it only brings up the next 14 days, and then find the day that works for you and go ahead and get scheduled. We appreciate the Convention Center for hosting these for us. And we're excited that the Red Cross is continuing to allow us to have these drives, and that we're getting some dates scheduled out, because has been a challenge for individuals to get an appointment. And so this will allow individuals that were eager to do so, hopefully, the availability to go ahead and get in there and get a spot for a donation. It's a great problem to have, and I appreciate the public and those individuals that have been willing to make that donation. We have warming stations available in and throughout our county. There is a list of those stations on our county website. We have also sent out the flyer on social media, as well as to all of our shelters and a lot of non-for-profit agencies, to help spread the word to individuals. So this would be for someone who does not have a home, or someone who has lost heat, or for whatever reason is not getting enough heat in these bitter cold days. And warming stations, just for you guys as well as the public to know, are a place where individuals can go in and can stay for a short amount of time to warm up themselves, and then go on about their day. So food will not be provided at these shelters, and neither will an overnight accommodation. But at any time, day or night, if anyone needs to get warm, those places are available on our website. And we are excited that our fire departments are willing. They always are available to open their doors for any individual that might need this service. It is Earthquake Month, and I know it's kind of weird to be talking about earthquake when we have all this other stuff that seems to be happening in our emergency management world. But just quickly, last week I gave two resources, and I'm going to give 2 additional resources today of things for preparing for an earthquake. So quickly, last week I talked about securing furniture and making sure you have a family communication plan. And this week, I'm going to add 2 additional resources of preparedness. And those are to make sure you have a box readily available of your disaster supplies, things that are not scattered throughout your house, but something that you could easily and quickly grab to have in the area where you are secured if an earthquake would happen. And then it's also a good thing to have all of your financial documents and all of your just any documents that you might need to have, birth certificates, death certificates, marriage licenses, those type of things for your family. It would be good to have those in one location and not scattered throughout your house, so that if you do in fact have an impact on your home, those would be secured in one place for you to easily grab if you need to relocate, or to have if you need those in case of a disaster. And then next week, I will go into the recovery phase of earthquake preparedness. Now, on to our weather that we are having. We have had several different snow events since we've met last month. We've had several overnight snow and ice events, and we are continuing to have some additional snow and some additional events that are coming in later today and into tomorrow. It should not impact us like the last snow that we have, but we still do have lots of slick spots on hills and curves, and as well. And so we are getting a little bit of light snow this afternoon into this evening, and then again tomorrow into tomorrow evening. We are predicted, in one way, we're predicted to get up to 1 to 2 inches. In another weather that we receive, we are predicted to get 2 to 4. And in another, it's just a light dusting. So it could be anywhere from really getting nothing up to about half of what we've already gotten that's on the ground right now. So we will be watching and being prepared throughout the county as much as we can. We do have a chance of getting a little bit of a light ice in the mix of today's into tomorrow's. So we could potentially get a little bit of dusting snow today, ice on top of that, and then a potential snow on top of that. So please be aware and give yourself additional time if you do in fact have to travel. Please bundle up. I know those kiddos like to go out and play in the snow, but it is following with bitter, bitter cold, with a high chance of getting that frostbite. And so we encourage you, if those kiddos want to get out, today would be a great day to get out before that bitter, bitter cold comes, following this track of weather. So keep that in mind, and make sure that you are wearing proper clothing and warmth if you do in fact have to get out, because it will be very, very cold coming in. Any questions for me?
Thank you so much, Ms. Moore. Comments, questions, Commissioner Jones?
Not at this time, thank you.
Commissioner Githens?
No, those are nice suggestions about any kind of emergency preparedness.
Yeah, good point. Excellent. Thank you so much for all of your hard work, and we appreciate everything you do and your staff to keep us all safe all year long, not just during the COVID pandemic. All right, excellent. And with that, we'll move on to Ms. Ridge for road and traffic report. Good morning.
Well, good morning. I don't want to duplicate anything that Allison said, so if you have any questions, feel free. I know the guys have put in continuous hours. I can't thank them enough, and the management team out there at the highway garage. They get wore out, they get wore down, but they don't give up. And I think they've done a great job on the roads. We've heard a lot of compliments, it seems like, over the last week versus a lot of complaints. I know we're going to get both, but I do think that we've received a lot of additional emails of telling the guys how great they're doing. So I think Toby's on here. If you guys have a question for him, I always go back and tell them all the kind words that you all say about the crews every week and how appreciative you are. But he might want to hear that from you guys straight. So I'm pretty sure he's on here.
Yeah, I see him on the participant list. Any comments, questions for Ms. Ridge or Mr. Turner?
Yeah, I just can't thank you enough. It's just amazing what everyone has done. And over a rather long period of time, and it was never really quite clear until the last minute how necessary it was going to be. So it was really an amazing effort. I myself have not been out at all, and where I live, I can't even see the roads, but I have heard that they're in really good shape if you can just get to the road, which I can't always.
Commissioner Githens?
Yeah, huge shout out and thanks. I know Monday evening it snowed a good bit the southern part of the county, and then it stopped for a while, and then we got up the next morning and there were another couple of inches. And so the fact that they had to be out there basically continuously is just amazing, and the fact that they're there doing it.
Yeah. So yeah, please, Mr. Turner, please pass on, and Ms. Ridge, please pass on kudos from all of us. And I've heard nothing but good things this season, and I know it's so difficult because the forecast changes at the last minute, and they're staying on top of it, and trying to get things scheduled with that kind of uncertainty is really tough. So we certainly appreciate that ongoing organizational communication wizardry that goes on at the highway department. So many thanks to them, and we appreciate all their hard work. Thank you. And we will see you later, Ms. Ridge. Okay. And let's see if there are any other department updates. I do not see any. Okay, and with that, we will move on to public comment. And this is for items that are not on our agenda. And you will have 3 minutes total time to speak. Ms. Dayton, if you could let folks know the tone they will hear when they have 30 seconds left. Great. When you hear that tone, that means you have 30 seconds left to speak. So at 2 minutes 30, you'll hear that tone. It looks like we have one person who wishes to offer public comment. Ms. Meyerson? Good morning.
Thank you. I'm unmuted. I don't know if I.
Oh, you're not. We can hear you.
Okay. No, I am unmuted. I just wasn't sure if I should turn a camera on. In any case, thank you to the commissioners for the opportunity for public comment this morning. My name is Deborah Meyerson. I'm a member of the Monroe County Affordable Housing Advisory Commission, and I'm the past vice chair. Joining me on the Zoom today is Kathy Crabtree, who's the current chair of the commission. And for public comment, I wanted to share a resolution proposed to the commissioners that we'll be submitting, recognizing housing as a human right. The Affordable Housing Advisory Commission has drafted this resolution with the support of the Monroe County Human Rights Commission. We originally presented this resolution to the commissioners in 2019. In the current version, we've streamlined it and to focus on the key point. Monroe County commits to the goal of a safe, decent, healthy, sustainable, and accessible housing for all residents. And I'll read to you within the time available the full resolution, just because I would like you to share with the public the power of this resolution. And this is for Monroe County recognizes housing as a human right. By recognizing housing as a basic human right, this resolution establishes a vision for our community to empower people of all ages, abilities, incomes, and identities with access to safe and stable housing so that they may live and thrive in Monroe County. Whereas safe and affordable housing equates to better health outcomes, while households who are cost burdened cannot adequately spend on nutritious food and healthcare costs, bringing down health outcomes and impeding child development. Whereas the availability of affordable housing supports vulnerable populations, prevents crowding, limits exposure to environmental toxins, and increases the feasibility of escape and survival from domestic violence. Whereas studies show that stable, long-term housing is the single most important factor in a person's ability to recover from struggles with employment, substance abuse, and mental or physical illness. Whereas unemployment, poverty, and housing instability are broader systemic issues. Whereas affordable and accessible housing promotes opportunities for increased independence for people with disabilities, whereas unstable housing causes children to suffer from slowed development, emotional difficulties, and underachievement in education, whereas the lack of access to affordable housing will ripple through our community for generations, not only in health outcomes, but also financial impacts. Whereas the Monroe County Human Rights Ordinance promotes equal opportunity in employment, housing, education, and access to public accommodations, regardless of race, religion, color, sex, national origin, ancestry, sexual orientation, gender identity, disability, housing status, or status as a veteran, and prohibits familial status discrimination in housing. Whereas the human right to housing includes legal security of tenure, availability of services and infrastructure, affordability, habitability, accessibility, location, and cultural adequacy. Now, therefore, be it resolved, Monroe County is committed to the advancement of fair and affordable housing. In furthering of County Ordinances 2016-34 and 2018-20, Monroe County joins other jurisdictions across the country in declaring housing as a human right. In doing so, Monroe County commits to the goal of safe, decent, healthy, and sustainable housing, accessible for all residents, and to the objectives and policies that accompany the said goal. So this is the resolution we'll be submitting, and we encourage timely adoption of this resolution. It's more resonant than ever when the pandemic is creating even more housing instability for so many members of our community. Thank you for your time this morning.
Thank you so much, Ms. Meyerson. We appreciate you. All right, looks like Ms. Crabtree. Good morning.
I just raised my hand in case Deborah didn't get through. So I have nothing to add other than I support what she just read. I was afraid she'd run out of time. Sorry.
No, we're good. We turned off the timer because you're representing a commission, so we're good.
Okay, thank you. Yes,
Yeah.
but anyway, I totally back what Deborah said and appreciate her work that she did as vice chair. So thank you.
Excellent. Thank you both. We appreciate you both being here today and sharing that. We look forward to reviewing the document. So, and thank you to the Affordable Housing Commission. All right. Is there anyone else that wishes to offer public comment on an item not on our agenda? I do not see anyone. Okay. All right. With that, we will move on to our regular agenda items.
Move approval of the minutes for February 23rd, 2021.
I believe it was for February 3rd, not 23rd. We haven't gotten to the 23rd yet.
In a hurry for spring.
I
I heard
second.
third, but okay. All right, selective hearing. Good. Okay, excellent. We have a motion and we have a second. Any comments, corrections, additions?
I had sent one correction to Ms. Friedman already, and it's been taken care of. So
Great. Excellent. Thank you so much. Mr. Cockrell, will you please call the roll on the approval of the minutes for February 3rd, 2021?
Commissioner Thomas,
Yes.
Commissioner Jones,
Yes.
Commissioner Githens.
yes.
Motion is approved, 3-0.
All right, thank you so much. Next item, please.
Move approval of the claims docket, accounts payable February 10th, 2021, and payroll February 12th, 2021.
Second.
We have a motion and we have a second. Good morning, Mr. Miller. Tell us all about
Morning.
it.
The total for AP claims was $1,528,335.84. $330,902.99 was for Motorola Solutions, Inc. For radios for our sheriff's department. $125,391.89 was for December 2020 wheel and surtax distribution. $120,600 was for Lambert Consulting LLC, which was for Stay Safe and social media marketing for COVID. And $109,960.13 was for Building Associates, Inc. For our Monroe County Health Department renovations, pay application number 6. As far as payroll is concerned, the total was $1,644,301.99. $1,157,899.16 was for the main payroll, supplemental payroll, as well as clinic incentives. And the remaining $486,402.83 was for all the payroll-related AP claims. And finally, the magic number that I'm most concerned with is 46, which is the days left until the due date. So.
Don't blame you. Excellent. All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Miller. Comments, questions? Commissioner Jones?
No.
Commissioner Githens?
I just hope things continue to go well until the due date.
We are all very happy for you both.
Thank you.
And so let's see if there's any public comment on this item. All right, seeing none, Mr. Cockrell, will you please call the roll on the approval of the claims docket, accounts payable for February 10th and payroll February 12th, 2021?
Commissioner Thomas,
Yes.
Commissioner Jones,
Yes.
Commissioner Githens.
Yes.
Motion is approved, 3-0.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. All right, and I will note that we have received a report from the clerk of the circuit court, and this is the monthly report for December of 2020. And with that, we will move on to new business. Item A, please.
Move to approve Schneider Geospatial Agreement regarding GIS services. Fund name, reassessment and cumulative capital, Fund number 1224 and 1138, with the amount of $11,261.66 from the reassessment fund, $26,076 from the cumulative capital fund, for a total of $37,337.66 per year.
Second.
Great. We have a motion and we have a second. Mr. Baker. Good morning.
Good morning, commissioners. I believe that Judy Sharp is going to speak to this morning. I don't see if Judy is on or not.
She is. We will give Ms. Dayton a moment to bring her over. It's always good to get those names in advance, but we can always look at Ms. Dayton, how quick she is. All right, Ms. Sharp, good morning. Assessor Judy Sharp.
Okay, I should be unmuted, right?
You are. We can hear you. Thank you.
Okay.
Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you, commissioners. This came up, I believe, last week, and Lee Baker was the attorney on this, and he was handling it for me last week, and we ran into a little glitch. It looked like the reassessment fund was going to pay the whole thing, and thank Tron Enright, who was on the Zoom call. He caught that, so you tabled it for today. We went back and redid it. What this is, you know that GIS, we started our GIS back in 1991, and how it had always been funded was through highway and reassessment for years. That's what started the whole GIS. Bill Williams and I, we have dedicated funds that could be used for this, and it seemed to make sense that we did it. And so that went on for a lot of years with just highway and reassessment. And then as things progressed throughout the years, it was decided that TSD, once we finally got a TSD director that was interested and started working with us in it, then it became part of, it was still highway and reassessment. Then we added you all, the cum cap fund, into the mix, which has made it a little bit easier on all of us to fund this project. What happened over the years, we've always had different providers for GIS. It started out with Beam Longest and Neff. Then I believe it went into 39 Degrees. And then last year, 39 Degrees, which was a local company here, fantastic young men that started a GIS, and we moved to them, sold out, and they sold to Snyder Corporation. Snyder Corporation is the largest corporation now in Indiana, and it's one of the largest in the nation on GIS services. They've always wanted in Monroe County, but we went local with 39 Degrees, and then 39 Degrees decided to sell to Snyder. 39 Degrees has got a great opportunity to do a huge federal project over at Crane, and because it's just a small company, they couldn't handle us all. So Snyder came in, and they're a very, very good GIS company. But the cool thing was that 39 Degrees made a deal with Schneider to continue the services to Monroe County at the same rate for the next 5 years. Because this started last summer, it looks like it's a 6-year, it was a 6-year project, but it's actually just 5 since this is now 2021, so it's only 5 years. That is an awesome deal. It's not going to raise, it's going to stay the same. And that's what it is. You can see that you all, the cum cap fund, has $26,076, and the reassessment fund is $11,261.66. So that's what it is. It's a 5-year program or a contract, and thank you all for listening to this, and let's move forward.
Great, thank you so much. Comments or questions, Commissioner Jones?
Just would like to really thank 39 Degrees North for making sure that we got such a good deal. It's always sad to lose a local contractor, but it's good that they took care of us.
Yes, I totally agree.
Yeah. Commissioner Githens?
Yeah, sounds like the right way to be going. So thanks for getting this worked out. And again, thank you to 39 Degrees North. Yeah.
Absolutely. Great. Okay, let's see if there is any public comments on this item. And I did want to just double check with Mr. Baker if there's anything else he wanted to add at this point as well.
No, ma'am, I do not. Thank
Okay, thank you. All right, so this is a 5-year contract at those amounts that Commissioner Jones read. All right, I don't see any hands raised. So with that, Mr. Cockrell, will you please call the roll on the Schneider Geospatial Agreement regarding GIS services?
Commissioner Thomas,
Yes.
Commissioner Jones,
Yes.
Commissioner Githens.
Yes.
Motion is approved, 3-0.
Thank you, commissioners, very
Thank
much.
you. Thank you so much, Ms. Sharp, Mr. Baker. Next item, please.
To approve ordinance 2021-03, amending stormwater system equivalent residential unit rate.
No, that's the old agenda.
The old, yeah.
Oh. I didn't get Tina's until late this morning. Is that just off the agenda now?
Yes.
Okay, sorry about that. Move to approve Skirvin Eminent Domain Settlement Agreement.
We have a fund name and number. Should we add that?
Oh, yes, I don't have a name and number, sorry.
Fund name, local road and street fund, fund number 1169 in the amount of $42,000. And with that, I'll second the motion.
Okay, we have a motion and we have a second. Mr. Schilling.
Thank you very much, Dave Schilling from the Legal Department. This settlement agreement relates to a eminent domain action that was initiated against Ms. Skirvin in order to obtain right-of-way for the Sample Road Improvement Project. The suit was filed. Rather than proceeding to trial, the parties have agreed to a settlement in the amount of $42,000 for the right-of-way that is to be taken. As a result of the settlement, the property will be conveyed, the right of access will be conveyed, and a mortgage release will be recorded by the mortgage company that has an interest in this property. Also attached is an indemnification agreement, and this comes about because Washington Township Water Authority also has water lines across this right-of-way. And some of they're concerned about the impact of construction on their lines, on their facilities. And the county's engineers have looked at it and don't think that there's going to be any problem for Washington Township. And we would, of course, be responsible for any damage we did anyway. So we conclude and we recommend the entry that the commissioners approve and enter into this indemnification agreement, just basically saying if we, injure Washington Township Water Authority's facilities, we will pay for that. Also, and the amount or the indemnification agreement, there was a date that was missing from that, and that date is February 22nd of 2021. Let me see. And that was in paragraph number 3. Washington Township Water will execute the utility reimbursement agreement, a copy of which is attached here to on or before February 22nd. And the reason for that date is the Water Authority is not going to have their board meeting to approve this until the 18th. And then we have a couple weekend days in between there. So that gives us time. The reimbursement agreement that's referenced there is something that is required by the state to obtain the funds to proceed with this project. So we have both the agreed findings and judgment document before you, and that includes the $42,000 from the budget line that Commissioner Githens referenced. And then we have the indemnification agreement, which requires their Washington Township Authority to sign the reimbursement agreement by February 22nd. And we present those documents for your approval.
Great, thank you so much. Sorry, Ally's got a squeaky toy now. I should take these out of my office when I have meetings. All right, let's see if there are comments or questions. Commissioner Jones? Commissioner Githens?
No, this is part of the upgrade of Sample Road, right?
Correct.
Right.
Make it safer as well.
Yes, absolutely. Good. Let's see if there's any public comment on this item. We're waiting to see. I would say, Mr. Schilling, thanks for working through this. These are sometimes very difficult documents to organize when you're dealing with multiple parties at the same time. So thank you for working on this. It doesn't look like we have any public comment. Mr. Cockrell, will you please call the roll on the Skirvin Eminent Domain Settlement Agreement?
Commissioner Thomas,
Yes.
Commissioner Jones,
Yes.
Commissioner Githens.
Yes.
Motion is approved, 3-0.
Thank you.
Right, thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Thanks, Mr. Schilling. And we'll move on to the next item, please.
I hope I've got the right one.
Ozer Surveying.
Move to approve Oser's Surveying and Mapping LLC agreement. Fund name, County General, fund number 1,000, in the amount not to exceed $15,000.
Second.
Great, we have a motion and we have a second. Ms. Rice.
Morning. So from time to time, the county is in need of the services of a professional licensed surveyor. And this contract would provide for up to $15,000 worth of work by Rachel Ozer, who is a licensed surveyor here in Monroe County. The kinds of times that the county needs a surveyor is when there's a property issue, maybe a boundary line dispute, when we are extending trails and we need to sort of understand where one parcel begins and one parcel ends. So this contract is not dedicated to a specific project, but is open-ended to allow us to be able to use Ms. Ozer services when necessary. I could see these services being used by the legal department, by the Parks Department, by the commissioners. As you know, you are the owners of our trail system. And it will be done on an hourly basis. Also, just as a way of background, Rachel did used to work in our surveyor's office. And I have talked to our county surveyor. We will, of course, use their very good services up until the point where we need to use a licensed surveyor. So I think we'll be able to be pretty efficient and be able to use our own surveyor's office for quite a bit of our work. But when we need an actual, survey, we would enter into this. We would use this contract to get those services. So I'm happy to answer any questions. This is not, there is no termination date on this contract. It's just until till we reach the cap. And it can be extended by both parties if they so choose and money's available. One note, I think that we have the general fund listed on this. That may be the source of funding, but there may also be a bond that's available or perhaps funds from another department. And so I think Ms. Purdy and I will make sure that we pull from the correct funding source for this. So it may or may not come from the fund number that's listed on your agenda.
Right, that's good. You answered a question I had, so thank you for that. Commissioner Jones, comments, questions?
No, I don't.
Commissioner Githens?
No.
Okay. And I don't have any additional questions either, because that was my question about different projects needing different sources of funding. Let's see if there's any public comment on this item. Again, everybody is limited to 3 minutes per person. Just raise your hand at the bottom of the screen and we'll move you into the panelist mode to offer your comment. I don't see any hands raised. With that, Mr. Cockrell, will you please call the roll on Ozer Surveying and Mapping LLC agreement?
Commissioner Thomas,
Yes.
Commissioner Jones,
Yes.
Commissioner Githens.
Yes.
Motion is approved, 3-0.
Great. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. Thank you, Ms. Rice. We'll move on to the next item, please. This is the winter shelter.
Move to approve agreement with Beacon Inc. regarding the winter shelter. Fund name, County General, fund number 1000 in the amount of $20,000.
Second.
Great. We have a motion and we have a second. Mr. Cockrell.
Yes, at a previous meeting, we had indicated that the county commissioners were interested in providing funding for this winter shelter in the amount of $20,000. This grant agreement does that. It provides the reporting guidelines for Beacon to kind of show how they spent the money and gives kind of the nuts and bolts of how that reporting will go. Again, this is for the expansion of the ability to house people experiencing homelessness during the COVID emergency. On the agenda there, it does reference the Food and Beverage Fund Reimbursement Officer. That will be changed to the Monroe County Auditor's Office. It's one and the same, but I think it makes it clearer that this is different than the food and beverage grants that we have given in the past.
Great. Thank you so much. Comments, questions? Commissioner Jones.
I'm just very relieved that we're able to do this, and thanks to the council for helping out.
Commissioner Githens.
Yes, I'd just like to share with the community that within just days of the shelter opening, it was at its max capacity. But I also want to thank many people in the community who made donations that have made this possible, to people who are there with food in the evenings. I mean, if you're hungry as well as cold, it's not a good recipe for staying healthy. I also want to thank Boris Gilmore, who right now is recuperating from catching COVID. I hope things work out well for everybody, but I'm really pleased that we were able to do this.
Yeah, I think this is a terrific use of CARES dollars, and it's a great cooperative effort with our council and with the good folks at Beacon Shalom. So excellent work, everyone. All right, let's see if there are any public comments on this item. Just a quick raised hand at the bottom of the screen. It does not look like we have any. So, Mr. Cockrell, will you please call the roll on the motion to approve the agreement with Beacon Inc. regarding the winter shelter?
Commissioner Thomas.
Yes.
Commissioner Jones.
Yes.
Commissioner Githens.
Yes.
Motion is approved, 3-0.
Great. Thank you so much. Next item, please.
Move to approve a letter of agreement with Apex Benefits, fund name, self-insurance, fund number 1170, in the amount of $4 per full-time employee enrolled in medical benefits.
Second.
We have a motion and we have a second. Ms. Purdy, tell us the good news.
Yeah, good morning. This is a letter of agreement with Apex Benefits, who's actually been the county's benefit broker since 2014. And they have helped us establish a strategic plan regarding our benefit expenses, plans that we're going to use, the benefit programs. They monitor the market and provide an analysis of our health costs and the trends that coincide with all of that. they make recommendations to us as to, how to move forward in a pandemic, for example. The appendix that's attached to the agenda gives a full breakdown of all the services that they provide. But the point that's really important in this particular agreement is they have provided us a 50% reduction in our costs from our original agreement. And that is because of their willingness to educate us and the knowledge that has been gained by our Ms. Sensenstein and Mr. Miller. And because of that, Apex doesn't, we don't require the time from Apex that we did previously. And so they are giving us a reduction of 50% in our monthly costs.
Great. That is great news, amazing news.
Yeah.
And kudos to our great staff in Human Resources and Payroll. Comments, questions, Commissioner Jones?
Yeah, this is just kind of an amazing company. The amount of services that they offer and the breadth of them was just really surprising to me. And then on top of that, they cut our price in half. That's a very nice company to work with. And thank you also to Human Resources for having picked it up so quickly.
Yeah, they've been great.
Right. Excellent. Commissioner Gittens?
Yeah, at a time when everybody talks about rising healthcare costs, to see somebody reduce it is amazing.
Right. Excellent. Let's see if there are any comments or questions. I will note for anybody who's doing a careful reading of the packet, the 2014 date is because we want to make sure that we have an entire agreement signed from past years, but it's not a typo. We're all good.
Yes.
All right, I don't see any hands raised. And Mr. Cockrell, will you please call the roll on the letter of agreement with Apex Benefits?
Commissioner Thomas,
Yes.
Commissioner Jones,
Yes.
Commissioner Githens.
Yes.
Motion is approved, 3-0.
Right. Thank you so much. And move on to our last item.
Move to approve Bluestone Tree Service for East Sample Road Improvement Project. Fund name, local road and street, fund number 1176, in the amount of $68,249.03.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and we have a second. Ms. Ridge, good morning.
Good morning. Yeah, we had submitted and asked for 3 quotes, which we received. And we need to move forward with this due to the VAT restriction time that starts April 1st. We've had Bluestone Tree Service do some work through bids before, and they have turned out to be a great company to work with. So if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
All right, thank you so much. Comments, questions, Commissioner Jones?
Just that I'm always a little amazed that these companies actually calculate their bids down to 3 cents.
Commissioner Githens? Yeah, I find that, pretty amazing too, Commissioner Jones. But I like, as I was reading through the contract, I was really reassured that they're doing all the cleanup that goes along with it, picking up the brush, things like that. That's equally important.
Right. Ms. Ridge, can you talk a little bit about mitigation?
I can. So in the last few years, IDEM has come up with a process where you can do a mitigation in lieu of fee. Because it's hard for LPAs and locals to find mitigation sites and the requirements for that mitigation site. So we pay the fee for some of our road projects up front, and then the mitigation is completed through the IDEM program. So that way you are assured that you get the replacement of the 1-to-5 ratio, 1 tree down versus 5 plantings. So that way it is assured that it meets the guidelines for the NDOT process and what's to be returned in taking of these trees.
Okay, and those are in Monroe County?
Yes, I believe they have to meet certain guidelines of where they can, that mitigation area has to be. And in past conversations that I had in previous projects, there was boundaries that you had to meet for that mitigation site to be within that project area.
Okay. And I also asked a question to you on email about trying to look into replacing trees actually on the roadway, because it's a much nicer look, and it's really, you know, a benefit to everybody in the community to have really nice looking roadways. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, and as I stated, it's something that we can definitely look into. We have to consider right-of-way lines, putting things in the right-of-way, you know, to not impede on the traffic and cause a hazard there. But if there's something that we can do to add some aesthetics there, then we would definitely try and look into that, and funding, of course. But it's an option that we can always keep open.
Yeah, and I wonder if it's something that we could work on, sort of, you know, short-term and long-term, to come up with a way to fund tree replacements for the actual owners of the property, so they can actually put it on their property and it becomes their tree, but it's along the roadway, and just kind of mapping out where it could go. And
absolutely,
yeah, I think it would be a great program, and young trees are not that expensive, so it would be nice to do something like that for them as well, because their lives are totally being disrupted. So thank you for that. Let's see if there are any questions. And I don't see anyone with a raised hand. So Mr. Cockrell, will you please call the roll on the motion to approve the agreement with Bluestone Tree Service for East Sample Road?
Commissioner Thomas.
Yes.
Commissioner Jones.
Yes.
Commissioner Githens.
Yes.
Motion is approved, 3-0.
Thank you so much, Ms. Ridge. We appreciate you. Excellent. We do have one appointment today. Would either of you like to make a motion on that?
I move to reappoint Rebecca, is it Udakong, to the Monroe County Women's Commission. And I apologize if I mispronounced Rebecca's last name.
Second.
Yeah, thank you. I think this is a new appointment, but I might be wrong. But either way, it's a 2-year appointment, and it runs through January of 2023. And we have a motion and we have a second. Mr. Cockrell, will you please call the roll?
Commissioner Thomas.
Yes.
Commissioner Jones.
Yes.
Commissioner Githens.
Yes.
Motion is approved, 3-0.
Great, thank you so much. Just a few quick announcements today. I'm sending over a, in the chat, I'm sending over a little, there we go, a little short guide to some really good ways to celebrate Black History Month, which is all of February and the end of January. So, you know, appreciating the struggle, the history of the struggle, celebrating the arts, the culture. So just some suggestions there with links, because nobody can get out to a museum when it's so cold. And of course with COVID. As was announced by Ms. Moore, we have 2 blood drives in March, the 17th and 18th. Go to redcross.org. There are some others in the area as well. And also just a note that as of last Thursday, we have a total of $642,006.81 in CARES funding And that has gone to local businesses and social service organizations and also taxing units that did not receive CARES funding. So we're really pleased to work with the council on providing this service. We encourage any business or social service organization in the community to who has COVID-related expenses, non-personnel, non-payroll, that are not covered by other funding sources, to contact us through our website, co.monroe.in.us, to fill out a form and to apply for this program. This is a grant, not a loan. In addition, especially as people's utility bills are higher because we're working at home, we want to ensure that every county resident knows that we are offering and have provided in cooperation with the council, a township assistance fund. This is to help our township trustees provide needed funding to our residents who are struggling to pay for shelter and utilities and the basic necessities. If you're in that category, please contact your township trustee. Every Monroe County resident lives in a township, and you can find a list of contact information at co.monroe.in.us on the emergency management page. And just a reminder again that our county buildings remain closed to the public except by appointment. And we are requiring that you practice physical distancing and that you are wearing a face covering. All right. Anything else from the board? I see someone's hands raised, but our meeting's pretty much over. Anything else, Commissioner Jones, Commissioner Githens? Okay. I will note that we are going back to our old format when we used to, way back in the old days when we used to meet in person at the courthouse. And we are going to have a work session following our regular meeting. So Mr. Shelton, if you'd like to hang on for that, that would be fine. See your hands raised. But we do have just one item on our work session, but any department heads that have items should bring it to our work session. So we're going to adjourn here. We're going to take a quick 8-minute break, I guess. So 10 after 11, everybody okay with that? We'll come back at 11:10 a.m. And we will have our work session agenda. So seeing nothing else, we are adjourned. Thanks, everyone. Be well.